Hello, my name is Kerr-Peterson, and I'm the EMEA lead for the app dev sales team here in Dublin. My team and I work with app developers throughout the region, specifically focused on user acquisition and engagement campaigns. Today, I'm going to take a bit of time to talk to you about the psychology of free-to-play apps. But before I begin, I'd just like to quickly get a show of hands. How many of you or the agencies you represent work with companies that have an app? Just with a show of hands. Okay, so quite a few of you. How many of you individually have played a mobile app game? Just with a show of hands. Okay, and if you just keep your hands up, for those of you who have played, how many of you have actually made an in-app purchase, so spend money within one of those games? Okay, so as you can see, the numbers have gone a little bit smaller. Roughly, most of our game developers have about a 5% number of their users that actually make an in-app purchase. So over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to talk to you about some of the ways in which these game developers have built their games and structured their games to encourage users, like some of you, and players to make an in-app purchase. So let's begin by looking at one of the free-to-play apps there. And some of the context that actually Aideen pointed out. Look at how this game is connecting you with one of your heroes, potentially. If we can roll the video, please.
Everything is a game. Life, football, doesn't matter. People will always think they know you. They'll even judge you and tell you you are a failure, a zero. We regret things in our past. But there is a way back. Always a way. You know? In any fight, you got to believe in yourself. Never go back. Want it more. Try harder. Be an enemy for hours. You will sweat blood for this game. Tear down everyone else around you. You will fight your way into the light. You will lead the revenge.
Oh, imagine!
Are you not listening to me? Yeah, I am. Go on.
Top 11 2015. Be the special one. Download now for free.
So a lot of you might have watched that just at the beginning, and it might not have stood out initially to be a mobile app game. And even more strikingly is obviously the investment that's gone into creating this advert. Having Jose Mourinho there as the hero of this particular game and spokesperson is obviously a massive investment. But that app you can download and you can play for free. You can enjoy everything that they've built for you for free. And that's the case with the majority of apps within both the iTunes and Google Play App Store, is that most of these apps you can actually download and play for free, and that trend we expect to continue going forward. So how do these apps make money? The largest portion of gaming apps make money through in-app purchases. Who here, just by a show of hands, knows the actual name of this game? Yeah. It's Game of War, if that's what you think you were correct. Game of War is a combat game. It's played worldwide simultaneously with thousands and thousands of users. Athena, up on the right there, the goddess, she is the one who cheers you on from the sidelines as you build cities, amass armies, and take on other kingdoms within the game. And it's by joining alliances that this game really creates a community. In order to join an alliance and join a good alliance, you actually have to be a very attractive user within the game. And you become an attractive user by building up your army, your city. And to do that, a lot of people pay to win. So they make these purchases within the game to become an attractive member of an alliance so that you can dominate within this game. Individuals that purchase within games are often referred to as whales. And the whole idea of these game developers is to try and attract as many of these whales to their game. Similar to high rollers at a casino, they're ultimately what drives the revenue within these games. In a newspaper article in Belgium, there was a 15-year-old teenager who spent 37,000 euros of his mother's credit card on in-app purchases within this game. Obviously, that's a fairly extreme example and probably not a great one to highlight. But just the ability to purchase that amount of in-app purchases within a game to get the full experience from it is quite remarkable. So we're going to have a look at some of the ways in which game developers, aside from alliances and leaderboards and gamification, use the psychology behind their game to drive people to make in-app purchases. The first topic we're going to talk about is ego depletion. As humans, we have a finite pool within each one of us of self-control and willpower. When you're playing each one of these games, throughout the game, in-app purchases are made available to you. They're almost omnipresent within the game. And as a user, you can start off by resisting the temptation to buy a particular item. But over time, as you keep playing more, your willpower reduces and that finite pool becomes a bit smaller. So the more you play, the more likely you are to make a purchase within the game. And interestingly enough, if you've played a game and you've been resisting this urge to buy something and you finally break, walking past cookies, if you are on a diet that you've avoided the whole day, becomes a hell of a lot more difficult. And you're most likely to break that diet you've been trying to avoid breaking for the whole week. And that's really ego depletion at its core. The second most used tactic is reciprocity. There's two schools of thought on this. The first is that humans are self-interested, and we act in a self-interested way. The second is a reciprocity school of thought, and that is if we behave in a nice way towards somebody, they will reciprocate in a nice way. And likewise, if we act in a hostile way to them, they could be quite nasty in return. So game developers have embraced this reciprocity model, and they offer all the games, well, a large portion of them, for free. And even when you start the game, you might do a tutorial, and you might get something awesome like a sword or a car or something like that. And that's, once again, for free. And in return, what these developers hope for is that you'll feel so compelled to buy something within their app as an act of faith and reciprocity towards them. And this goodwill really pushes people within the game to make the in-app purchases and feel good about doing it. Price shrouding. Price shrouding has been around and discussed since about 1957 in different forms. The two areas and topics I want to talk about here is don't use real money and game inflation. So within most of the games that you play, you're not actually purchasing with real money in terms of the fact you're not buying something with an actual euro or dollar, pound value. It's hidden within a different form of currency within that game. So generally speaking, the most successful game developers don't use real currency as a way of purchasing items, but a different form of currency. And game inflation is such a difficult concept to understand when you're playing a game. You don't know how much the price of an item you might want to buy now will change when you've gone 10 levels further and you really need that item. So game inflation is really a function of you as a user, because the mechanics behind it will change the price of that article or that item based on what you're trying to do within that game. So just to highlight this, in a pretty cool article by Bloomberg called "One Nerd to Rule Them All," they looked at Game of War. They tried to estimate how much $1 was worth, and their estimate was that $1 was worth about 280 gold bars. So $10 is worth 2,800 gold bars. And if you looked at just the bottom portion over there, you could see that 2,800 gold bars could buy you 140 torches, equipment bags, gold pickaxe, teleport. But that equivalent for a charity could buy you 250 vaccination syringes, polio vaccines, books for a school child. But if you didn't have that comparison of what gold was worth in a dollar value, and you just had the 2,800 bars of gold could buy you that, it becomes very difficult for you as an individual to determine how much that's actually worth to you. Is 2,800 gold bars worth an advanced teleport? It could be. It could be worth a lot more to you depending on what stage of the game you're at. The second, similar to price sharding, is intermediate currencies and bulk discounts. Within most games, you can actually earn currency as well, allowing you to play for free. But you earn it very, very slowly. So the more time and the more engaged you are within that game, the quicker you can earn this currency, but it takes you a really long time. So one way of trying to help users purchase is by offering them bulk discounts. Bulk discounts obviously pull together some of these items, and then you purchase them. But once again, you don't have a real grasp of what those values are of those individual items independently. So for example, you can see here that this particular user, this is from Robocop, this particular user is level 2, wants to buy a tier 4 PT1 Ember gun. They can either do that by spending 96,000 units of what I can only imagine is cash, or 430 gold bars. In this particular game, you earn the cash, so the 96,000, and you can see the user only has 90, or you buy gold bars from the store. So in this particular case, the user can decide, okay, I'm either going to keep on playing until I earn enough cash, and it seems like they're very far off, or I can buy a few more gold bars and get that awesome gun that's going to allow me to carry on. When we look at bulk discounts, here's a great example. You can see that this user can either buy diamonds, or they can earn currency, or the other alternative option, as we talked about earlier, is actually offering somebody a bulk discount to buy a whole package of things. But when you compare Weapons Starter Pack 1 with Weapons Master Pack, you actually realize that they're exactly the same articles for sale. The only difference between the $4.99 and the $14.99 is $10, obviously, and the fact that you're getting the second pack fully upgraded. So all of the cool stuff you're buying in the first pack is only at the basic level. But if you pay an extra $10, you will have all of these items, but fully upgraded. And the reason they offer you this difference is for a reason called fun pain, or illusory discomfort. And this was termed or coined fun pain by the developer of Mafia games, by Zynga, the little Zynga dog. And the idea behind this is that a part of playing these games is really fun and enjoyable, but other parts are really painful. And if you can reduce that pain and make it more fun by offering an in-app purchase, then users are more likely to purchase. So, for example, in Farmville, to harvest your crops, you would individually have to tap on each crop to harvest it, which is kind of fun because you're getting the reward for it, but it's really irritating because you're having to click on each one. But you could buy a tractor, and if you buy a tractor, then you can click on it and you can harvest 4 crops at one time. So you reduce the pain element and you increase the fun element by offering an in-app purchase. And that's where they made a lot of their money. This game behind is called Adventure Capitalist. It's about trying to build up a massive business to become a trillionaire. And you do this by clicking and creating lemon stalls. And when you have enough lemon stalls, then you create a newspaper store, and you keep going until ultimately you become an oil baron. This is fun to do, but after a while it becomes really tedious. So what you do is you spend a little bit of money and you hire an employee. And the employee runs your lemon stands until you have enough money to hire an employee to run your newspaper stands. And you keep going until you can afford angel investors. So it's kind of fun, and that's really the fun element at play. So I want to play a quick video, and in this video, you'll see a bit of in-game action. Have a look out for gamification, like leaderboards, bright colors when you suddenly complete something, in-app currency that you can earn, and what you can build with that money. So if you don't mind rolling the video. So as you can see, there are a few of those elements at play there. To finish off, I just want to highlight that game developers originally started off in this industry of mobile app games with pay-to-play games. These were the only options before an SDK that allowed in-app purchases was developed. But that actual method never really took off. So developers who create these fantastic games and invest so much money into them and so much passion had to figure out another way of monetizing them. And that's where in-app purchases really came to the fore. The other thing to know as well, when looking at all of these different tactics that can be used, is that you can play all of these games for free, and you can play the whole game for free. It might take you a long time, but you can do it. And also, of course, all these games are costly to make, and there are massive businesses behind them. When you talk about programmatic, when you talk about video, when you talk about mobile, game developers and app developers encompass all of those into one particular business unit. And behind all of that is hardcore performance marketing based on analytics and data insights. So I'm going to move off the stage, and before the next speaker comes on, just sit back and enjoy one of the videos and the trailers that the previous game has created to entice users to play their game. Thank you very much. Please play the video.